Hello, everybody. You are on Becoming Quantum Conscious, and my name is Bart Sharp. And this is, of course, the first day of 2025, and we are becoming quantum conscious more as we speak. And we do this on United Public Radio and UFO Paranormal Public Radio Network at 107.7 and 105.3 out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana. And we're also on Roku, X, YouTube, Facebook, Spreaker, and other internet platforms all around the world. So everybody's having the same day of New Year's Eve, new beginnings. And that's what the spirit of the show is of today is new beginnings. And of course, if you know anything about me by checking into my shows, this is creating greater consciousness, quantum consciousness, going down into the tiny worlds, activating, changing those to where something becomes more powerful inside of us as we evolve with this. And today I was thinking, well, I'm going to do this show by myself. And then I met this woman, Erina Cowan, and it was like, no, she needs to lead this show today because her work is fabulous. And she's going to be doing an activation for the world today. And trust me, she is that huge to be able to do that. And so we welcome Erina Cowan in the show. Just an amazing individual that has some very special tools with mind field repatterning. Welcome to the show, Erina. It's good to see you. And are you muted? Oops.
Hi, Bart. Can you hear
There we
me?
go. I can now. All right.
Okay, 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 great.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for having me on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Like I said earlier, when I
Uh,
experienced the session with you,
this,
I thought, my God, it was so transformative. And I go, can you do this can this expand beyond the individual? And you go, oh, yeah, I do group work all the time. And I thought, wow, let's have a format where we connect to over 300,000 people and just bring it out, because what I would think that if 300,000 people were receiving these amazing clearings, that would probably exponentially expand to more people in the world. And, what a great way to kick off 2025 with something amazing like that. So, welcome to the show. Uh, what did I say? She's a badass. That's all I can say. And we're going to experience that. But when we talk about mind field pattern, we just let's just talk about that for a bit and how this stuff works. Get everybody prepared for the second half. So, what is mind field repattering? And by the way, it's something you co-founded, if that's right.
it is something I co-founded, and I just want to note, Bart, that I'm getting a lot of echo. Uh,
Okay. Do you
it,
have do you have earplugs?
I had it's not, I put my headset on, but it
You're still
doesn't
having
seem.
egg, you're still having egg with your headset plugged in? Is it better now?
Not really.
Okay, because you're clear as a bell on my end, but
Okay,
it's
so
not.
long. I I think we're actually connecting in some other dimensions.
Well,
Okay, great. So long
I
as there. So long as the recording goes well.
It is. So, could you just tell us about mind field repatterning and what that's about?
Yes, yes. So mind field repatterning is a practice that actually allows us to tap into the what I call the superconscious mind, which includes conscious and subconscious, but it also includes that field of all consciousness. We're all connected on the level of mind, and we're able to access that. It's a pattern, it's not a pattern, it's a system that uses consciousness and agreement. I use a pendulum to create a vortex field, which assists in shifting patterns. And, we create changes that can be very tangible.
That's wonderful. And when you worked with me, it felt like the the mind field repatterning techniques that you were doing that day were going into my things like my nervous system, my meridian lines, uh, just deep into my nervous system. Was I feeling that correctly?
Mhm. Yes. Yes. When we are connecting with this practice, we're connecting again on the level of consciousness. We're creating a field that allows for an easy release and therefore movement of patterns. And so it is happening on the level of our mind, of our field, and also the physical body. The nervous system is absolutely involved, and so is cellular memory.
Hmm. Yeah, it goes very deep down in there. And I had a guest on, God, a couple of months ago, Melinda Pratt, who was talking about the harmonious flat spot. And basically, this was an activation of the core energy of yourself. And from what I understand, mind field repatterning is neurologically connecting with that, to that
Mhm.
core self, and making it become more present or alive in us. How does that work? We're having a little bit of echo problem here.
Yeah, okay, you're hearing it?
No, I'm not
I'm
hearing it. I know you're
okay.
hearing it.
Okay,
Uh,
I am. I am.
so,
Anyway, actually, I've never experienced anything quite like it, so I would say, woo, awesome, awesome for New Year's Day. We're having a good
yeah, yeah. I think the recording is going along just fine.
oh, good.
Did you understand what I was asking you, though?
Not really,
Not
because
really.
I'm hearing you speak, and then I'm hearing you speak overlaid with that. At the same time, I'm hearing myself speak.
Okay, well, I was asking, I'll try this again in a shorter, concise way.
Mhm.
How can we get to that core energy of ourselves, and how does it affect us when it comes more present in us?
I heard you. Okay, give me one sec. Okay. All right. So that is our natural state. We are spirit having a physical experience. We are not these physical bodies. We are not these personalities, but we have been identifying as that. And in that, it's quite limited, right? And so our natural state is pure spirit, always in awareness and experience of connection with source. and with all of creation. In that state, naturally, we're going to feel peace and infinite creative essence and joy and aliveness. And so it's what I call the overlays of unconscious beliefs and patterns that make up our conditioning. And our conditioned mind is ego. And so we have been operating in a very limited way here, experiencing ourselves simply as ego, really, as the conditioned mind, right? So when we use mind field repatterning and other means to release ourselves from that channel, if you will, to give us a break, the feeling is amazing. We're awake, we're alive, we feel it in our nervous system, we feel more expanded, we feel connected. That idea of oneness becomes more and more an available, accessible experience for us.
Mm. And you used this term when I was reading about your work, saying collapsing the negativity, I think is, or the negative emotions, which, I never heard that term collapse like that. And can you explain what that is?
Okay, so I like to couch it. I am very much a student, and I live my life more aligned with non-dual perspective, which is uh, duality is of the ego, and it's to everything there is an opposite, good and bad, light and dark, high and low, right? I mean, that's how we experience things. So there is, in my experience, there are two things we can be experiencing, two channels we could be tuned into, one or the other. One is fear, and one is love. And what only one of these is real and eternal and connecting us with all that is. Everything else falls into the fear count. And so anytime we're not at peace, anytime we're not at peace, even if it feels like just a little bit, we are tuned in to thoughts, whether they're conscious or unconscious, and associated emotions that are not natural to us. They are in the fear camp. And in dissociation, we could say, when we're operating on with ego mind, we're disassociated from our natural state. And so emotions are going to be limiting and limited and just not natural to our being. And so when we collapse patterns with this work, we're creating a field, a vortex, a spin with the pendulum. And what happens, and we know what we're working with, right? Maybe the stressful emotions, stressful stories we're holding on to, conscious or unconsciously, in our agreement consciously to surface and release what's not serving us, we are able to see things pop up really easily from unconscious mind and collective mind. And then we're able to, with the creation of a vortex, a point in the center, there's a still point in the center that allows us to easily really pull out those patterns, those vibrations from the body, from the mind, from the field, and simply they are able to dissolve, just to be disappeared, if you will. And that's what I call by collapsing them. When when an idea takes form, light, sound, geometry take form, they can, whatever comes up, whether it's our ideas, our physical body, whatever form it is what we could call actually in on a physics level a waveform. It comes together and coalesces as a waveform. And so when we are creating a shift, it's literally collapsing those waveforms so that something new and desired can arise. And again, all at core, all to support this true sense of self.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful answer. And when we think of like mind-field repattern, what you're saying, if I understand this correctly, is that it all begins in the mind, or at least the ego parts of it. And you are transforming the body, how it holds these limitations through the neural patterns, as well as the brain that, or the mind that holds these as well. So, and also outside of your body,
Yes,
all with your pendulum.
yes. And the way we're using it, right? The consciousness, the awareness, the connection, it's actually very equally accessible to any one of us because it is our natural state. I just discovered it with my late husband, David Cowan, the two of us in our spirit, along our spiritual path and our work with the pendulum and our desire to connect with truth, we developed this together. No, I even want to change that. It developed through us to be expressed through us.
Maybe like you were doing, had been doing this before, or something similar, or maybe it was just information that naturally evolved out of you because of your evolution. Who knows? A lot of people go, "Well, I was an Egyptian healer, and that's why it came to me this lifetime." And I see validity in that. But also, sometimes it's just your natural progression that you come to this discovery,
Mhm,
in which you and your husband wrote a book, uh, Dowsing Beyond Duality, which
mhm.
I love that title because duality is so much about what this is, you know, a right
Yeah.
and a wrong, and they're the bad guys, we're the good guys, and we take our anger and separate it from us because we make somebody else wrong, or we make something else the problem, instead of going, no, it's all part of a whole,
Mhm,
because that's how duality works.
mhm.
And I mean, it sounds like not only are you working with a person, but you may be working in the fields that are connected to people that we're in conflict with. I mean, so you're disconnecting it that way. Is that a possibility?
I'd say yes. I'd say yes. And be we're not separate. We are all one. And it's so easy to say that, new age, a spiritual conversation, we're all one. And then who am I gonna point a finger out and say that they're the cause for all my misery? Well, if we're all one, who's the cause for my misery? Who's the cause
Yeah.
for my suffering?
And who can
And
you change?
exactly. So it's my mind that I have any choice about, and I can shift it and I can change it at any time, and it changes my life experience.
Yes. And it's all a part of a bigger picture all
Yes.
the time.
Yeah.
And to me, there's a lot of grace in that. Whereas the ego always wants to say, no, it's only me. I'm separate and I have to contain this and then
Yeah,
somehow protect it. As a shaman, I see the ego as something that was created from our woundedness, the things that we've not been able to resolve. And the ego is more on our masculine type of formations or masculine creations. And it's always trying to push through and battle. It's an extremely good do it yourselfer that is wants
mhm,
to control and handle all of that by your own lonely little self. Whereas the feminine, it's like, no, we're all included, we're all part of a whole. And yes, I have an individual self, but it's always connected to something greater.
yeah.
And there's a lot of grace in that. And one of the things is just to start believing. So you've been working with this for quite a few years, and this is, I just want to tell everybody that's just kind of joined in, this is Erina Cowan. She is at awakening, awakeningheartsandminds.com. And it's best right now to get on the computer and connect with this website, awakeningheartsandminds.com, as opposed to your phone. There seems to be some phone issues there. Uh, and in this process, Erina is the co-founder of the Heartfield, um, oh gosh, the heart, the mind
Mind
field.
field repatterning. No, it's
Thank
okay.
you.
No, that's beautiful. That was perfect because it's
Yeah,
about opening up our heart intelligence, right?
yeah,
And so
yeah.
that was perfect. But it's called mind field repatterning.
It really is, and it is. So when we think about this central, well, no, I'll go back to another question. You know, can you share a little bit about what you see happens with people when they do this type of work? Because you teach classes, you do workshops, you do group work, you do
Mhm,
private sessions, in which
mhm,
if you tell Arena, contact her at Arena at awakeningheartsandminds.com and tell her that you met her on this show, you'll get a 20% discount on a session, which is very generous. And anyway, what do you see in people when they start doing this type of work? I mean, I'm sure,
mm,
like anybody that does energy work, you know, you get some of the most confused and desperate people
mhm,
because they're ready to try something because a lot of stuff hasn't worked. And so you get some
mhm,
interesting cases.
mm. Well, what I find is that many people, I'm going to actually say most people, but not to, if somebody doesn't have an experience, it's not because they're doing something wrong. It's that, just in the moment, it might not be appropriate for them to feel something different. But in most cases, I notice that people feel a great deal of um, release, of peace, of change going on for them. They might be experiencing life differently afterwards, especially if it's, a series of sessions or they're in a class. Uh, my practitioners that have been through courses quite often tell me honestly that their lives have changed and they're doing it in the same way that I'm doing it because it's teachable. It's very teachable because we all have the ability to do it, right? And sometimes I see tangible results. At one workshop in the Northwest years ago, there was a woman who we knew for a handful of years who came in crutches. She had had an accident 4 years prior, and her hip never resolved since the accident. She couldn't walk without crutches. And we assessed it on the spot with mind field repatterning with this system, just checked in real quick. What's going on there? What's at the core of this? She tried many things to alternative and conventional to resolve it. Honestly, what came up was that she had taken on an entity in her hip at the hospital at the time of the accident, and that she'd been holding on to it since. We released that. We simply let it be released, and she literally threw the crutches away on the spot.
Wow.
So anything can happen, and quite often it's more subtle, but not all that subtle. Yeah, not
Yeah,
all that subtle.
sometimes you do this, do this type of work, and you have to look yourself a month later or 3 months later and go, well, what's changed in my life? It
Yes.
doesn't always come off like fireworks. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Uh, but it sounds like this is a tool that you have, as well as, you teach people how to do this, and they can take it home and start
Yeah.
working it themselves, which I
Yes.
think is so useful and imperative in this world, that we take it on ourselves. I mean, I don't know. Well, the list is short, and maybe they're not even telling the truth. But every healer, therapist, counselor that goes into the field has problems. We're not perfected individuals, and that we're on such a big pillar that we decide to bestow the wisdom onto somebody else. That's not how it works. We're all practicing these tools, and some people, when they get their skill levels up to a certain degree, they start you know working and teaching others. Some don't. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter. It's not the course, but that's part of the process. And it's always good to see a tool that is quite usable
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
easy to do. I won't say easy. Maybe the principles are easy, but the complexity that you can go into it is probably never ending.
Well, the ego is the creator of complexity, and so it does seem to go on forever.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, when I work with it or teach it, my credo is start simple, and quite often we can just stay there and something shifts. And if we need more, the mind will give us more information. But it doesn't have to be complex at all. It can be really simple.
Mm-hmm. And to teach something like that, you know, I would imagine you really are into service,
Hmm.
caring,
Hmm.
and that love that comes from you, that's in this core place,
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
what keeps you dedicated.
Yes. And that's the love that we're all waking up on planet, right? Because that's our natural state. That is our natural state. All everything else that we see is not coming from a sane mind. It's coming from, our distorted, dissociated mind that we call ego.
Mm, yes. And thank you for sharing that. And we are at midpoint of the show, so I want to tell everybody that you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious. I am Bart Sharp, and this is United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 and 105.3 out in New Orleans. Also on Roku, X, YouTube, Facebook, other internet platforms. Also the UPRN Talk Radio website. That's a great place to check out a lot of great shows on UPRN. Um, and also, you can find Erina's work at awakeningheartsandminds.com. She has classes, workshops, private sessions, etc., out there. Lots of good stuff. It's a beautiful site. But the second half is promised, as I'm going to kind of get out of the way and let Erina just do a transformational half hour or 25 minutes. We'll probably stop about that time and give call letters at the end, call it a day. So,
Give me 1 second, Bart.
all right, so I will talk a little bit more about next week. We have Maya Vale on the show, and we will be doing astrological predictions of 2025.
I am sorry. My
And
my plug had become unplugged and it could have become a problem for
oh,
my
that's good.
computer.
So I'll leave it all up to you, Erina.
Okay. Okay, beautiful. So I am going to invite everybody in just 1 minute. I just want to note one thing that I just want to let you know if you are going to look at my website, do so through a computer because I'm having tech problems with the mobile site in this moment and couldn't get it adjusted before the show. So anyway, just want to let you know. But let's go. I'm actually just going to put this back so I don't hear echo. Can you still hear me okay?
You're great.
Okay, beautiful. All right. So I'm going to invite everybody to just be in this moment open to receive. Nothing special we have to do, just to be present. What I have found is whether we are sharing a session, whether I am a practitioner or I am receiving, we are able to access a far more expanded state of being and state of mind when we're in a quiet mind state, when we're in what is sometimes called an alpha brainwave state. So I'm going to invite you right now, if you really want to enjoy an experience, to close your eyes for a moment. Well, close your eyes while we're going through this and avail yourself to just go within, allowing the mind to settle down to the experience of present moment, present time, this field that we are in, that we created, that we are all part of. We're not separate from it. Put a little attention, if you will, on the awareness. Allow your awareness to settle into the breath as it moves in and out of the body. And just feel what that feels like. No special way to breathe, just regular breathing. Notice that breath coming in the body. Open yourself up, receiving it, being grateful. We join today. How privileged I feel to be with all of you today sharing this. It's amazing. Here we are, day one of 2025. Wow. Putting attention on the breath moving into the body, allowing the sensation of that feeling helps quiet the busy thinking mind. Releasing the breath fully, releasing any and all resistance to letting go of, and now I'm joining with you, guiding you and also creating a field, sharing this field with you through this vortex energy and our agreement to share an experience, to open up more and more to true self awareness, to let go of all the patterns and the thoughts, the beliefs, conscious and unconscious, that aren't serving us any longer, that aren't serving us now. So going into this awareness, eyes open or closed is a good way to do this if you're comfortable. Letting that breath settle you down, noticing what you notice and how you feel, and noticing how the mind always wants to kick in and start coming up with some interpretation, and it's okay, but you can just let it go. So we join and we release now. In this space, we now give ourselves permission, bringing the light in with your breath, releasing, letting go of what you don't need with your out breath. It's being released anyway, with or without you paying attention to your breath. But if you pay attention to the breath and you're releasing, letting go, you're consciously participating. And isn't that a beautiful thing that we're all doing this together? So we now release any and all fear based patterns, beliefs, thoughts, emotions, feelings, any stories, any judgments from throughout your timeline, from throughout this lifetime, other lifetimes, other dimensions, other star systems. This is not your first time around the block, I can assure you that, if we're on this show together. And so we just let go of anything you haven't released yet that would be holding you in any way resistant to letting go of what doesn't serve you any longer, to letting go of identity around the patterns, the beliefs, the emotions, the feelings that seem to direct the flow of how you're experiencing life. 95% of these patterns are unconscious. We don't even know what's running the show until we do. So we're just letting everything surface that would be in your way of letting go. Just breathe, just open, just receive, just allow. No force, no effort. Collapsing everything that we release back into pure light, reversing ill effects. Any ill effects that you've experienced in your life as limitation, physically, mentally, emotionally, situationally, relationship wise, that in any way have been influenced by the patterns we're releasing today. We simply shift those. We reverse ill effects. Relationships heal from throughout your timeline. Experiences, circumstances, memories, environments shift as you let go of what you've been holding on to. And more, what's left is pure you, pure and perfect as you were created, as source, as the divine, as God, whatever word feels good to you, created you. Nothing that you or anyone else has ever done in this or any lifetime in any way can taint that. We can't touch it, we can't change it. We can experience ourselves differently. And we have agreed upon a game of limitation because that's what we've been playing with. We've agreed upon a game of separation because we see ourselves different and separate from one another. We have different conditioning. So we're now going to move through some more of letting go. We now move through your timeline, our timeline, throughout each and every one of your lifetimes. And we meet with you in each and every point because your mind knows exactly where to direct this flow. And your mind is agreeing to do so. So specific to you and your journey, mind is directing us, each and every one of us, to join in memory of any time we were ever persecuted for our beliefs, for our practices, for being different, whether that persecution was verbal, physical, mental, energetic, on any level. We simply join and we pull those patterns out. They no longer serve you. They no longer serve any of us. And as any of us heal, all of us heal. We are one. We collapse out memories of persecution, the vibrations, the mental, emotional, physical, energetic, environmental memories conscious and unconscious memories. We just let them go. It's so easy to let them go because they never were part of you. They were only chosen experiences in your learning, in your evolution as a soul, in your coming back to full remembrance of love, full remembrance of what is true always, has never changed, your eternal nature, the eternal nature of creation, that which we are all part of. Collapsing these patterns, allowing yourself perhaps to feel lighter and lighter, not feeling as though something is wrong or not going correctly. If you're not feeling lighter, the mind likes to throw wrenches in, likes to say, this couldn't be this easy, this couldn't possibly happen. Let those thoughts come and go. If they arise, they mean nothing. The conditioned mind you're thinking is not who you are. Let's touch base with something much deeper, with heart, your heart intelligence, your love, your essence. Just open the field. We now move through each and every cell in your body simultaneously, and we clear out memories of trauma, and your mind will release all that is appropriate for you to release in this moment. But I can assure you that we're sharing this. Your mind is ready to release some trauma. We clear mental memories, emotional memories, physical memories, energetic, environmental memories that holds the signature, the vibration of trauma on a cellular level in your DNA, in your mitochondria that creates ATP. No wonder we feel fatigued sometimes when we're jammed up with patterns. We just let them go. Now you are free to let them go. No force, no effort. I just give myself permission. It's that easy. We clear the brain, the nervous system. We move through the entire neurologic system, through all neural pathways. This is a rewiring, if you will, of the neurologic system. We move through the neurologic system and we now bind to energetically any and all traumatic, limiting patterns biochemically and energetically that would have you going through the same loop of suffering over and over, the same game of separation, the same limitation. We simply move through and we pull those out and we collapse them into light. We therefore are shifting the very the configuration of the neural pathways, allowing for a shift and a change to support you in this moment and moving forward and feeling greater calm and peace. We move now through the endocrine system to release any memories of trauma. The pineal gland, receiving and generating so much light. The hypothalamus, the pituitary, the thyroid and parathyroids, the pancreas, the adrenals, the reproductive system, all aspects of your endocrine system that keep us also in a loop of repetition, of stress, of trauma, of the past, and just living out the past all the time until we're not. And this is you being willing to let go of that call, that attraction to the past, letting yourself be free in this moment to create a new, moving into 2025 with a clean slate, with a clean canvas, ready to just create a new, aligning with divine will, opening yourself to it without the congestion of old patterns and beliefs in any way limiting that. We now join with all of our brothers and sisters throughout this planet, throughout this galaxy, throughout all universes, and we connect and honor and acknowledge that we are one. There is no them and us. And we allow ourselves to release to whatever extent is most perfect for each one of us in this moment. Any attraction to the stories that would hold us in separation from creation, in isolation, in suffering and loneliness, in limitation. I give myself permission to release this. It is not what we're experiencing in life, it's how we choose to experience it that matters, and that's what shifts our life experience, is our becoming aware that we are the choice makers moment by moment in how we want to experience that moment. You have the power within you. This is about waking it up, moving through that neurologic endocrine system and every cell in the body, all pathways, all systems, all organs, all glands. We now move into the light body and we just open up the flow of light. We move through all upper chakras, including the soul star chakra, into the crown, into the brow, into all occipital chakras and all chakras in and around the head, into the throat chakra and all chakras in and around the throat, the shoulders, down the arms, the hands, the fingers, down through the torso, through the upper heart and heart chakra, the solar plexus, sacral, root, earth chakras, and earth star chakra. All chakras in and around the body. We simply release any distortions, congestion, any patterns, any beliefs that are limiting our sense of light, our awareness of light as our nature. Light is love. You are pure love. You just don't always know that. So is everyone, save no one, and save everyone, really, as we get that. There's just love. When we're not seeing that, we're seeing a distorted mind, very cut off from reality, very disassociated. And that mind we're part of, we're not separate from either. The choice for freedom is ours. I choose love instead of fear. I choose peace instead of trauma and stress. We open all chakras, align them beautifully, open the aura and clear and clean all subtle bodies of any distortions, anomalies, congestion, beliefs, thoughts, emotions, feelings that would keep us separate and in limitation, that would keep us identified with small self, ego self. I give myself permission to just let it go. It's not who I am. Expanding the light, bringing everything together, clearing your DNA of any and all ancestral patterns that you've been holding on to that would limit your joy, your freedom to create in alignment with the divine, your oneness, love. We collapse all of those ancestral patterns that you are ready to let go of. And this serves as a gift to all of your lineage before and after and in all directions. Just expanding the light, the release, bringing everything, the whole lineage, yourself, the whole field into greater coherency, greater peace, greater joy, greater freedom. Remembrance of love, waking up in each and every one of us in this moment, serving us as a beautiful, creating a beautiful gateway into this new year, availing ourselves to experiencing it differently through taking responsibility, not blame, not shame, but responsibility for our mind, for our healing, for opening our hearts up and joining everyone on that level. My favorite saying is from Rumi: there is a field beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing. I will meet you there. It is the only place we meet. So we now bring in and simply broadcast into all aspects of our being, physical and non-physical, into all of our ancestors, our family members, our relationships, into the whole flower of life, tree of life, out into the cosmos, just all around the earth and out into the cosmos, connecting us in the universal light of truth and love. And we ground this and we avail ourselves to feeling that and to know it's our natural state. Nothing is being done to you. Everything is created for you and by you for your evolution and your awakening. And so it is, and so be it. May you take this forward with you and feel grounded in it and integrate it. It is your natural state. Even if you're not feeling anything, don't worry about it. Something has to have been happening because we're joining with this intention. Just allow yourself some quiet time, perhaps today in nature, or however else you want to honor yourself and support a quiet mind and open heart. And so back in the body, an awareness of the body in this space. The body is not you, but it is your communication device while you're here. Only true communication is love. Everything else is a barrier. And so be that.
Wow. Well, I feel expanded. And as we've all experienced this all around the world, um, we're just planting that seed not only within us, but in our energetic fields that connect with other people. And with that shift, that we all have greater freedom inside of ourselves, a higher connectedness to the source of ourselves, and may that vibrate as a higher love. That was beautiful.
It's beautiful to share it.
Yeah, yeah. Whew, I'm still a little bit swimming. And, the thing, what I would guess is that uh, since we all did this together, of how many thousands of people are listening today,
Mm-hmm.
um, we magnified it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you have a whole new set of brothers and sisters out there, um, energetically connected.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what happened today and transpired will be affecting us in the coming weeks, days, maybe months, as we launch off into this new year. I'm going to do the call letters, and Erina, if you will just think of a parting bit of wisdom you'd like to leave everybody, maybe a minute long. Uh, I'm so spacey that I don't know if I can do it, but I'm going to ask you to do it. And you are with Erina Cowan of Awakening, www.awakeningheartsandminds.com. She does classes, she teaches this, does group work, private sessions. If you contact her and tell her that you heard her on this show, you'll get a 20% discount. And she works through Zoom. And it'll be, email would be Erina, Erina, at awakeningheartsandminds.com. Who, and you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious. And at least in these 10 seconds, my name is Bart Sharp, and you are on United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 107.7 and 105.3 out in New Orleans. On the UPRN radio, talkradio.com site is where you can hear us as well as Roku, Facebook, X, YouTube, and other internet platforms. Next week, we will have Maya uh, Vale with astrological predictions of 2025. And later on in the month, we will have William Henry, uh, which I'm really excited about. A special 1.5 hour show on January 29th. So, what bits of wisdom can you leave with us, Erina?
Well, just saying, first of all, thank you to be able to be on this show with you and everybody. And, you know, just, uh, just a reminder of what's true is you are pure and perfect, and so is everyone else. And when we're not seeing that, we're simply not tuned into our true station.
And everybody just remember that.
Yeah,
Uh,
everybody's able to do that.
yes. Thank you so much for being on the show. And we'll see everybody next week at Becoming Quantum Conscious.